talk about a really special sort of a take on doing sales, and she has a Zen approach to it, which is something that aligns with your values and your personality and so forth. And I'll let her obviously talk more about that. But Heather's been associated here at OfficeXpats for quite a while, and she sat down with me and helped me come up with a script for inviting people, for instance, to come to an open house. So it's technically a cold call, but we're not trying to sell anything over the phone. We're trying to create an invitation for someone to come and get to know us with some, goodies in it for them. And so I can't encourage you enough to take advantage of whatever opportunities we might have with Heather. She is a member here at OfficeXpats. Her home is in Port Townsend, so she works all over Kitsap County. And what's the county that Port Townsend is? Jefferson. Jefferson. All right. I think of Kitsap as being everything to the west of Seattle, and I know that's not true. Okay, so Heather, thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to having 2 Zen sessions with you.
Thank you.
All right, welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Hi. It's great to be here. So yes, my name's Heather Flanagan. I'm a business coach and consultant. I've been doing this since 2000, when the technology bubble burst. Before that, I used to do outside sales for a company selling sensors for factory automation. I worked for the Japanese, and I learned so much from working with the Japanese. They rated us on not just our bottom line, how much money we made, how close we were to goal, but the sales process from beginning to end, sending literatures out, contacting new customers, how many appointments a day we had, how many samples we sent out. And from that experience, I learned a lot about sales process. Plus they trained us on sales. So I got a lot of information there. Perhaps my biggest credential is that I was raised by a shrink, and I studied psychology. And being raised by a therapist, you get all sorts of gifts as far as empathy, and also you learn just enough to mess you up for the rest of your life. So hopefully you all dodged that bullet. Anyone raised by a minister? That can be even worse. Okay, I hear. So my philosophy about sales is that really it's about an authentic connection with your potential customers, with people, and that it's very much about what feeling you intentionally are aiming toward producing in another person, according to what you interpret their needs and values to be. So that during every step of the sales process, and I consider the sales process to be from the moment they hear about your business for the very first time, whether it's you talking to them, hopefully it's someone else who's worked with you talking to them, or they see a flyer or whatnot, the feeling, being conscious of the feeling you want that contact to evoke in the person, and every slice of the way in between, engaging them, closing them, working with them, and then on the other end of it, part of the sales process is them sharing their experience with someone else. And I like to have a sense of that there's intention behind that too, that we have influence on that, and that so when we know what kind of feeling we want to have someone experience, it kind of helps guide us, and it also gives us something to focus on besides, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I have to talk to this person, or well, I wonder if they're going to buy, or all that stuff. If we're coming from this empathic feeling place, it is a freer feeling, and it's less fight or flighty and all that. So my intention for this brief little snippet of time, I've got about 8 hours of content, so we're just going to get highlights. It's like we're not going to go too deep. Hopefully you'll get a little snippets. If you have questions for me and you want to ask after class, please feel free. I have a complete open door, no charge. Just pick up the phone or drop me an email. Look me up on Facebook, whatever. I'm happy to answer questions or to engage in discussion. I learned so much from we're all experts here. Every one of us has been a customer, and you're experts at your businesses. And so I like to have the class be more of a sharing. I have a lot of ideas and opinions and, opinions. Let's just say opinions. And I really want to hear from other people. Everything I say is subject to criticism, disagreement. I don't mind. Some of the universal principles, like in my business that doesn't work. It's like, okay, in your business that doesn't work. Let's figure out what does work. So blah 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 blah. Yes. So what I'd like to do before we go on is I'd like to get, and in the interest of time, please keep it very, very brief. I'd like your name, your business on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high. How experienced do you feel in sales? And that'll give me kind of an idea of where we're at. We're gonna start.
Me?
Yeah. Oh, just first name too.
Hi, my name is Rob. The business that I'm representing is called Theater One. We sell control systems using iPads and smartphones like iPhones to control residential and commercial applications like lighting and air conditioning. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say probably about a 4.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Shailene. I have a company called Building Blocks Northwest. I'm a behavior analyst working with kids. And I just started my business a few months ago, so I'm a newbie.
All right.
Maybe one.
All right. Great.
Karen, my company's Silver Planet, helping boomers keep their parents safe and secure at home. I would say a 2.5.
All right.
I'm Crystal Photography. I'm a photographer on the island, and I would say my sales is probably 8 because I love it.
Great. You love sales?
I love it because I think I am coming from what I can offer that person.
Yeah. Cool. Great.
My name is Ann Sloan. My name is Ann.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm an author and soon-to-be publisher, and I also do seminars. And my comfort with sales is about a 1.5.
All right. Great. Welcome.
So my name's John. I do educational films, and as far as my experience with sales, I'd say maybe a 4 or 5, but my success is maybe a 1 or a 2.
Okay. All right, John.
And I'm Karen, and the business is called Space Management Consulting, organizing people, paper, stuff, and conflict. It's about a 6,
Okay.
because I love it.
Yeah.
My name is Steve, and I'm with Baybridge Water Services, and I would say, what I do is I give people service for having their water quality tested, and I manage water systems, and I put myself at about a 1.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sid, and my company is Horizon Home Inventory. I do a inventory of your belongings, possessions in the home, and put it on DVD, so you can put that in a secure location.
Right.
Somewhere between a 1 and a 10. It depends on what day it is.
Gotcha. Note to self, Sid is bipolar. Just kidding. I'm bipolar, so I can say that.
I'm Bill. I'm a business consultant. I've assisted over 200 clients at this time and have run 10 different businesses and been involved in sales, every manufacturing. And I'm probably about a 9. I wouldn't put 10 down because you always can learn something.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're here. Hope you'll share.
My name is Laurel. I am a services design and planning, and it's a 2.
Services design
and planning.
What?
I'm an architect.
Oh, architect. I know that word.
My name is Alex, and my business is Artopia Creative, and I'm a graphic designer / artist and muralist, and I'm pretty comfortable with talking to people and all of that, but I'd probably give myself a 5 because I'm very comfortable with it, but I don't really have a good system for sales.
Right on. Okay, you'll definitely want to come to the 1 and 2 weeks because that's when we're getting into like actually looking at your sales process from start to finish. And it'll be a workshop. We're going to work. We're going to push our edges. This one's going to be fluffier. It won't hurt. The other one's going to hurt. I'm just kidding. It won't hurt much.
Hi, I'm Marcia. My business is Moving Well Physical Therapy in Feldman Place. And I'm sort of trying to transition from the more physical therapy in the medical model to something different. And my sales experience is like -1.
Okay. So I just, when it gets into the minuses, I just write humble. Because I refuse to write a minus. You've been a customer before, so everyone automatically gets a 5. If you were below that, you get up to 5 because you've been a customer. And empathy is so important. What do you do? I've never seen you before.
My name is Leslie Schneider. I'm your space host today, and I'm very comfortable talking with people one-on-one and sharing whatever value I think we have. And I would give myself a 2 when it comes to understanding and having action on the whole process.
Fabulous. Awesome. Steve, cameraman, do you want to chime in? Or are you invisible fourth wall? Okay. Let the record show that he hand signaled to me that he's not actually here. Okay.
I have both hands up. I think it's a 10.
Yeah, he's a 10. He's very zen sales. I want to buy whatever he has to sell because he's so quiet. Okay, so with no further ado, thank you for sharing all that. It helps me really get a feel for who's here and what levels we feel like we're at. Another part of my philosophy is that, what it takes to be good at sales, there's not, it's not learning how to be manipulative or learning any special tricks. It's almost like getting that used car salesman archetype out of your mind. If you are authentic, if you really care about what you do, if you really care about the people you serve, that's 90% of it. So y'all get 9s. Unless you're like, oh, I'm in it for the money. And then you still get a 9 because you know that. So what I want to start with is giving you a second to think about the core values. The core values are at the heart of anything you do. And my tagline, which my marketing person came up with, and I was like, oh, it's brilliant, was, helping you grow your business from the inside out. So I really want to start from the inside. And, probably some of you have done a lot of core values work. Maybe some of you have never done core values work. Don't worry about it. Just think about the top 3 core values that drive your business right now and write them down. I'm going to do it too. Does everyone have at least one? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. So any surprises, or what did you notice about that? Does anyone want to share what their value was? Oh, come on.
Sure. Well, I've done some of this values work before, so this came pretty quickly, but so I just wrote down 3 words: collaboration, creativity, and connectedness. And I didn't try to make them all C's.
Just happened. Yeah, all right. And do you find that most of the time you're coming from that?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, when I'm talking with people.
Yeah.
I think so.
Right. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Go ahead.
So you asked about surprises. My surprise here was that there would be more than one core value.
Oh, yeah?
Think about that for a moment. What does that mean if there's more than one core value?
Yeah. What does it mean, John?
I'm not sure, but I guess it means looking more multidimensionally at what I'm doing instead of just in a single dimension.
If you thought of just one core value, what was that core value?
Yeah, that was the next question.
Education?
No, it's a good question. Education. So in education, well, maybe that's an umbrella, because I hear service. Education, you mean like educating others. Yeah. And what was the second core value you came up with?
System perspective.
System perspective.
Which is kind of a pet educational topic of mine, because culturally we're not very good at thinking of things as systems.
Yes. Oh, I think I understand. That's how I look at the human behavior. I'm a behaviorist. I want to figure out, okay, if this happens, then, you know, what happens here? So there's a certain aesthetic in it. What else? Oh, did you have a?
I have a question, because I've never worked on core values.
Oh, yes.
So it's difficult because you could have one or you could have 100. I don't
Sure.
know. What's the, yeah.
Yeah, well, the perfect number, just kidding. When I do core values work with businesses, and I will do it with an organization or a team and also an individual, I start with a sheet full of core values and trick questions. Because the core value is something that emerges from you, it's the essence. And then, you know, there's another category of values that can drive us, which I call unvalues or maybe counter intentions. That would be like if you're being driven by fear, which happens to all of us, I think, most of us. That's not a core value. Or if you want approval, that's something that you're trying to glean something from the outside to make you okay. Core values are something that emerge from within the core. So what I have people do is take this list of core values and highlight all the ones that just resonate at all. And then I have them pick a top 10. And then the bonus assignment is to prioritize the top 10. And then the super bonus is to define the top 10. Because, you know, one person's service might mean one thing or might mean another thing, or love or aesthetics. You know, and more cleanly you can define what your core values are, the easier it is to see if you're in alignment with those or a little off, the more finely defined they are. Yes?
The challenge I had for this was
Yes.
Core values for me are not necessarily the ones that drive my business.
Yeah, it's
I
different.
have different answers.
Right.
Maybe bad, but it's-
Oh, you know, it is what it is. Does it feel true and right and good to you?
yeah,
Well, then it's okay. It's true and right and good.
no.
Yeah, it's not wrong or bad. The values, you know, for me, everywhere I go, one of the core values is fun. But for me, you know, empowering others, I might have that being higher for my work than maybe my children. Maybe my children already a little too empowered, and defining boundaries is more of a, you know, with adults, it's, you know, those boundaries that your parents define for you, let's get rid of those and be in the playground again. My kids, it's like, okay, we're not in the playground, you need to clean your room. So, you know, values will differ depending on context, but they'll still be something that's at the core moving out.
Excuse me, Heather, you
Yes.
wanted to know when it was 12:30, right?
Yes.
12:30.
Thank you.
I just happened.
Yeah, great. Yes, sir.
What if your business is related, you chose it because you thought there was a market need for it?
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily amongst your highest 3 core values, for instance.
Right.
Is that potentially problematic, or are there ways you can work around that?
You know what, Rob? I have some thoughts about that. And it's funny you should bring that up, because it actually just came up with a client this morning. I was on the phone, and she's a creative person, you know, just one of these lovely creative souls, and she really wants to do, you know, spiritual guidance and this kind of thing. But she also feels isolated doing her art, and she wants to get a JOB, and she's afraid that she just wants to get a JOB as a distraction, you know, and as a way to maybe avoid really pushing herself. And it's like, we might do something because of, you know, it's fear driven, or the real, you know, the other reason she wanted to get a JOB is because she wants to work within community. She wants income, so she has the freedom to do her art, you know. So when two different motivators might lead to the same behavior, and in your case you picked something because you felt there was a market to it. Does it feel like some other values get to be served? Maybe they're not immediate, maybe they're in the future. Can you make a case for it having a straight line into
There are some values wrapped up in it. It may
Right.
not be my highest,
Right.
most passionate values, but they're in there. And
Right.
it's a product or service that interests me, so.
Perfect. So the more you can really just accept that this is what you're doing right now, and that these core values exist, And when you notice that you might be going, oh, this isn't what I really want, it's like, well, this is what I'm choosing right now, and these are the core values. And then, you know, it can be in alignment with, you know, who knows what's going to happen in the future, who knows how things are going to shift. I just want to, right now, I just want to dive in and find out what this thing is. But I'm offering everybody a 30-minute consultation, and I will be emailing you to schedule it. So, just you wait, Rob, we're going to talk. Okay, so we should move along. If you have questions that you haven't gotten to ask and you want to, please write them down so you don't forget, and please ask me, and we can talk about it. So the next thing is about customer experience. Like I said, is sales to me isn't just, you know, say hello, ask for the sale, you know, build rapport, ask for the sale, la la la. It's having this deeper conscious awareness of, and this is probably the part you might feel more comfortable with, is knowing how you want your clients, your potential customers, your clients to feel. And also being aware of what their needs are. What needs of theirs are you set up to serve? And yes, take a moment and just ponder those two questions. And we'll see what comes up. Okay. Woo. All right, close enough. So, what did you discover about how you want your clients to feel?
As I look at this, I see that basically what I've written down from as far as the customer experience is it's kind of identical to what I had for the core values.
Oh, interesting.
In other words, like under promise and over deliver. It's kind of like more of an inner mantra for me.
Right.
And so, you know, they totally are interconnected.
Right.
They're
So
not different at all, really.
So Sid, how do you want the clients to feel? Like when you do under promise and over deliver, what feeling comes up in them? Do you imagine? I mean, it's not always going to be accurate.
Surprised on they got so much more than what they expected.
So they're pleasantly surprised,
Yeah.
kind of wowed, like, ooh, that was a good value. Awesome, beautiful. Who else has something they want to share about? Let's look at how you want your clients to feel. One more, Alex?
Excuse me. Well, for me, I mean, it really comes down to I want them to feel happy.
Yeah.
Because by my creating art for them or selecting colors for their home for them, I want to create a place where they are surrounded by an environment that fits them.
Yeah.
And that ultimately is going to make them happy, they're going to feel at home. So I think it really just comes down to happy. I want them to feel happy when I'm done.
So you want to inspire happiness.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I do.
Me too. It's fun.
It is.
If everyone goes back to their businesses and like starts making way more money and having way more fun, that would make me so happy. What about clients' needs? What are your clients' needs or customers or whatever, however you refer to them?
From their point of view or from my point of view?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's go from their point of view, just for the fun of it.
Don't have a clue.
All right, John, well, it's something to think. You could ask them.
Okay, I'll throw this out again.
But you as a client.
Jump again. So in terms of color consultation, for example, what they need quite clearly is they need to cut through way too many choices. So they need to paint their home and they're faced with thousands of colors.
So they need clarity.
They need clarity, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So, and they probably need to feel safe in making a decision.
Right.
Safety. Everybody needs, there's a few things we all need, and safety is one of them, I think. Well, I'm a bit of a thrill seeker too, so sometimes I don't want to feel entirely safe. That's why I'm here. What else?
Well,
Karen? Oh,
On that same
Laura.
point, people need assurance that the decisions they've made are the right ones.
Right, reassurance. Right, good. Karen?
Confidence and care and to remove burdens. They need help,
Removing
but they
burdens.
need removed from what they need from us is burdens removed, worrying about their parents. So we want
Right.
those burdens removed.
Yeah, I get that. All right. Yeah.
So I just put decreased pain and increased function, but there's lots of ways to get it. I mean, my interest is differentiating, you know, what I would do
Uh-huh.
than just anybody else would do.
Right.
So for the one before that, I put people want to feel acknowledged, have their needs addressed, and empowered to listen to themselves and get home in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you and I do the same work. Just yours is physical and spiritual. It's all spiritual, right? All right, good. Any other questions you have, please write them down. I want to move on through. Rapport building. I like to use the cliche, traditional little sales words because they're buzzwords. They're things that some of us have been trained to go, you know, if you've been in a lot of sales training, it's like rapport building, right? So you hear it, you know, open questions. How do you do open questions? So, so buzzy words. But rapport building is really the buzzy word for finding a connection with somebody else, finding out about them and what their needs are, asking questions that get them talking and expressing themselves so you can find out what their needs are and so you can know if you can satisfy their needs and share with them the connection between what their needs are and what you have to offer. This is all rapport building. So, ways to build rapport, well, one thing is to be very good at listening and asking, you know, talking maybe 80% of the time. No, that's what I do. Listening 80% of the time, talking 20% of the time, and getting them to share so you can really have knowledge of what they need. Also, using their names is supposed to be really good. Something I have to really work on. I've been pretty proud of myself so far. But I wrote down everything. I was like, okay. Anyway, so using names. And then there's the thing about open questions. And an open question for anyone who hasn't encountered this is a question that cannot be answered by yes or no. So it's like, oh, what are your needs around your parents' well-being? What are the challenges you're finding? What are the struggles? And an example of a closed question might be, you know, do you like red? No. Do you like blue? No. How do you feel about greens? There's an open question. Don't like them. But so take a moment and maybe write one thing about how you personally build rapport, and then maybe an open question that you use or you'd like to use, or maybe you've been inspired to think of a new one that you haven't used. All right. Who wants to share? Anyone who maybe hasn't shared anything so far?
Okay. I usually go with what situations are you facing? Open-ended.
Right.
And or what troubles you the most.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, I also make a mention that build trust, which is one of the most important things, I think. And that is, I want you to know that everything we say is strictly confidential.
Right. So Bill, I want you to know that everything we say is being filmed and will be shared with them.
That's why I haven't been saying a lot.
Oh, method in its madness. Okay, well, thanks, Bill. Yes.
I'm nervous as we're being filmed.
Oh, sorry I brought it up, Karen.
I'm Karen, but when I listen a lot, don't say much, and they'll bring things up, and along the way, if I feel a little uncomfortable about what they're saying because they feel uncomfortable because it's too personal, I share back. And some of the stuff I share is really hard to share because it's really personal, but they get it.
Yeah.
Like for
That's
many
the trust thing Bill was talking about.
many medical reasons, I have a great time identifying people's faces and information, but their names, I mean, it's a long story, I won't tell it. So I can share with people sometimes, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but I never do.
Yeah.
And then they laugh.
Right.
And then we just go.
Yeah, because that's authentic.
Oh, it's vulnerable, it's very scary,
Right.
but
But
we're all people.
the nature of your work, you're going inside.
We're people. I mean, that's just who we are.
Right. Yes.
So you are at quarter.
I am at quarter of. Thank you so much, Leslie. All right, and one more share about open questions, building rapport.
I have one.
Okay.
At least from a networking perspective and building business context, I use community groups I'm in, church groups I'm in, networking like the BBC too on Fridays or Thursday evenings, is developing relationships where you're attending some kind of meeting where you have a common value for attending that meeting.
Right.
Group, and then they can see you in action and see your character and how you behave.
Right, right.
And that therefore establishes rapport, or
Right.
at least a connection. What I've also learned is you have to be wary of that because they may like you and what you stand for, they may not want to invest in your product or service, at least at this time, so you can't let the one negatively influence the other. You can still have the relationship, they just may not be a networking source immediately.
Right, right,
Especially
so
if the
that,
sales process is longer, that can happen.
yeah, the relationship is important, and, you know, if someone else who's a friend of theirs is in a position to buy from you, and this person you've been kind to and really connected with, even though they're not gonna buy, you build trust with everyone you connect with. So it's brilliant to have that networking community, you're building a community.
Right, but you want to make that authentic and you're just not using them to gain context for other people, and that's...
Right,
That
right.
takes time to build a relationship.
Right, right. Yeah, it's kind of a dance we do, isn't it? Because really we all want to make money doing our passion. And I find that it helps me to just really admit it and accept it. I like money. You know, I like money. When I get a check written to me, I'll rub it all over myself. I love and appreciate money. I love and appreciate money because by having that self-loathing of being like, oh, I don't, you know, either it's I don't deserve money or money's evil or being, you know, I'm being selfish or I'm being greedy. All those things actually, not only do they block abundance, but they block how you show up in service. So your core values don't get to be expressed if you're so afraid that you're greedy that you don't ask for the sale or you don't ask for payment or you know fail to invoice or feel guilty about pestering someone to pay so you just don't do it and meanwhile you're not getting paid. You know, love and appreciate money. It's okay. It's your friend. It's, you know, if you were in the hut in the little tribe in the old school days and you were doing your healing, you're a healer, what would people do? They'd bring you a goat and a couple of chickens, and you'd say thank you very much, and you would adore this goat or chicken. Well now, oh, you might be actually a vegetarian, so they might bring you spinach. But now they bring you other greens, and then you take those greens and you go to the farmer's market and you get your spinach, right? So there's a middleman, and it's called, you know, in God we trust, currency. Don't hate it. There's a flow. So we need to move on now. What time are we at? What's that?
12:15.
Okay, so closing. There's two, okay, I'm gonna get to the very, 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 very most important highlights. There's two things about sales, and that is one, always assume the sale. Always assume they're going to buy. Come from the space that they're going to buy. Maybe not now, right, Rob? They might buy in 2 years, but they're going to buy because they need this product. So that, and what that does is instead of looking for all the ways they're probably not going to buy, or I might not sell this right, or I might be a bad salesperson and not sell this, you know, we err on the side of assuming they're not going to buy or assuming that there'll be some obstacle. And so to just kind of put that out of your head and just default to assume they're going to buy, you come from this place like, of course this is going to happen. And they get that energy too. Like, of course this is going to happen. This feels right. And, you know, as long as it is right. Now, if you feel like they should not buy from you, and that's authentic, it feels wrong in your core that they should buy from you, you help them in some other way. It's still a sale. It's still you getting to be in service to them by saying, you know what? That kind of architecture, I just don't do Victorian because it kind of gags me. I know someone else who does Victorian. Sorry, I live in Port Townsend and I love craftsman style and kind of a Zen craftsman look, and those Victorian houses are gaudy. So, it's like, oh, I know somebody else who does Victorian. Let me get you in contact with them. That's still a yes. And that deepens the relationship with the person you refer to too, which is sweet. So always assume the sale, and the other thing is always ask for the sale. When it feels right, when you think you're getting close, you need to ask for the sale. So what we want to do is buying signals, say that, you write it down, we're not going to talk about it. Ways to ask for the sale, we are going to talk about. Objections. One thing about objections, we're going to stay with asking for the sale. Then I'll give you a little diatribe on objections, and then we will close. I think that's what we're going to do. Sounds good. Feels right. I just did a sales training yesterday at Port Townsend Gallery, which is really interesting. Gallery sales are another world entirely. But one way to ask for the sale, the gallery is like, can I wrap that up for you? So it's like, oh, that's so easy. Yeah, right?
This is what I'm
Yeah.
kind of Google's here.
Okay.
Up until this point, I had ideas, and now it's like,
Right, okay. So a tool to get to it is, you've had a sale before. How did that end up? Think of the moment it closed, the moment the moment they said yes, and think of that conversation. How did they get to yes? That'll be your secret path to unlocking this. Anyone else completely stuck? Marginally stuck?
Well, I guess, my question, this is a question, is the equivalent in a service-based industry, because that's the galleries are sales-based industry.
Right.
In a service-based industry, would the equivalent be, can we review this contract together? Or, what is the equivalent for kind of round
Let's
for you in a service-based industry?
I'm in a service-based industry, and what do I say? Well, an example is from last night. There's a fellow that came to the gallery training, and he has another business, and he's like, oh yeah, Teresa Barris at Chamber told me about you. Yeah, and I got your card a couple of years ago, and then I said, can I contact you for an appointment? And he's like, okay, because he wasn't going to contact me, because it's one of the, so that, it's not closing a paid thing, but I just ask him for the, can I call you to schedule an appointment? To close, I'll just say, tell him what the program is or what the choices are. Like, you can do a 12-week coaching program for such and such. Do you want to go for it? And then they'll say either yes or ask questions, or, and this is a good segue to the next part, they'll bring up objections. Like, oh, well, it's a little too much for me right now. And then, so I don't bring up objections to them ahead of time, like, well, if it's too expensive, I used to, when I first started, I was like, I do sliding scale. It's $85 an hour. It was, it's not anymore, it's more. But I do $85 an hour. But I do sliding scale. I just blurt that out, and it's like, no, you just want to present the thing, and then let them tell you where the edge is, where their hesitancy is, so that you can deal with their objections, because everyone's going to have different objections. So if people object on price, then you have your second offer. But does that? I tangented a few times. I do that. But did your question?
It is. I think it answered a different question.
Great! I love multitasking. It makes me happy. And what else about asking for the sale? I'll pick on Bill.
I usually ask, I say, how soon do you need this completed? And just have a,
Yes.
I have a time scale and say, well, we better make a decision now, do you want it by that date?
Very good, and that's a nice open question too. When do you need this by? I like to help people visualize what it will be like when they're complete with it. Getting them to the feelings that they'll have in it, you know, it's like, well, find out what they want. Now, if you did triple your business, and when you triple your business, how's that gonna feel? What's gonna be possible? And then it's like, oh, if I tripled my business, wow, I might actually get a vacation this year. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii, you know, it's like, now they're in Hawaii, and I got them there. But I haven't, you know, and then it's like, okay, we want to do this thing. Now that you feel like you're in Hawaii, I've never been to Hawaii. Maybe I'll get a vacation this year. So anything else on that? How's our time?
Just a few minutes.
So what we'll do, okay, any questions or things you want to discuss, write them down, and I'm going to go ahead and jump forward to the finish. I'm going to hang out for about a half hour. So if you want to hang out, is that, how long do we have this room?
It's fine.
Okay, so I'll hang out for a half hour if you have any questions or just want to chat. But I want to close this so it officially closes on time because that makes me really happy. My anal retentive side just gets really jazzed when I can do that. It's not every time. So last thing is, people have buyer's remorse, so I'm dropping a lot of money for your service, so you want to make sure that's a great time to reassure them. It's like, this is really a great decision. I think you're going to be really happy, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure you're completely satisfied. You know, above and beyond your expectations is really my goal for you. Did that sound authentic? Because it really is. I mean, that's how I feel. It's like, I want you guys to be like, whoa, that's the best hour I ever spent. I have tools, I feel empowered, and things are moving forward, you know, a quantum leap, and that's always my intention. So, so our final thing is implementation. What ideas from this sales training are you most likely to use? What's your biggest takeaway, your biggest tool? And think of one concise sentence, because I'd love to go around the room and just get one sentence from everybody. And it helps me see what I did, what I did that was good, because I want to know.
Did you want us to write this down and get it?
Write it down if it helps you to make a concise sentence. You don't have to write it down. You can do whatever you want, Anne. I just want you to be happy.
Right.
Oh, great.
Well, that's actually one thing I was going to say, is that when I was telling you about that I want to be happy, and I think you said that I want to inspire happiness, and I really love that phrase.
Yeah.
That's just a really, I wrote that down. I know that my mission is to inspire happiness.
Yeah.
And so it's concise and it's simple.
Right.
And there might be a lot of ways to get there, but I like the simplicity.
Yeah. Now I kind of wish that the final thing was to make an I am statement about your core purpose. And okay, it's homework. Everybody, I'm going to ask you too, is designing that kind of core purpose statement. You know, I inspire happiness. I, boom, boom. And then when the fear comes up, as the fear does, and when money pressures come up, as money pressures are wont to do, there's the anchor, there's the thing to grasp onto as you're free falling. And then it's the thing to cling back onto when you scalpel yourself up off the floor. Scalpel, that was not the right metaphor, but you get my point. So let's go around. We can do a popcorn if you want. Who's got?
I want to integrate communicating the value of belonging, which would be a core value, and then establishing asking for the sale as part of the tour process.
Great. Very good. Well done. Yeah.
I said I missed that. Would you do that again, please, Leslie? I was too busy writing my own thing.
So adding into the normal communication, that the talking points, adding to that, communicating the value of belonging. And I have to think about that a little bit, of how to do that. But when somebody comes in here and takes a tour, how do you communicate the value of belonging to a community like this and belonging to a space like this? And then the second part is establishing how to ask for the sale as part of the tour. If somebody's invested enough to take the tour of this place, then part of that process would be signing them up for the mailing list, and so would you like to try out a membership?
Yeah. And have a special offer at that time or something. That's really powerful. Because you're right, they're already here, they're thinking about it, and they go away, they're busy. And they can't get back into that space that they're already in.
Is there anyone who has to leave within 5 minutes? Because I want you to go first if you. Okay. So how about Rob?
That's what I've learned mostly is that successful sales is a multifaceted, interactive process that involves many layers, including your core values, connecting with your clients, building rapport, discovering their needs, and finding a way to meet those needs.
That's a lot. That's a good value. Thanks, Rob. Next.
I think I do what you said you did initially with the price thing.
Yes.
I say the price, and then I'm like, what? I can do what it really needs me to do.
Right.
And I shouldn't do that.
Well, it's, there's something to be said for baby steps and feeling comfortable, because it's important that you feel comfortable. But it's something to maybe play with.
Yeah. I think also looking, like you were saying, look for them to object first before you throw that out.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's something you can play with. Don't get mad at yourself if you need that crutch, because that crutch got me where I am today.
Yeah.
And how do you spell your name, Shirley? S-H-E-A. Gotcha. I left out the E, first E, not the second. All right. Karen?
A takeaway is that you need to assume that the buyer is there to buy. And so that's my concise sentence in at the beginning when I said my sales is at 2.5, I think is because I don't assume they're there to buy. So I set up the barrier. So my takeaway is to assume they're there to buy, which gives me confidence, which I think will help close the sale.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear how that goes for you. Anne?
Well, which do you want, my takeaway today or like my sort of core thing that I do?
Whichever you're most burning to share.
I feel like I want to share both. Okay, I'll do what I like to do. I feel that my gift is to liberate people's creativity. And another way of putting it as an author and as a speaker and seminar leader, I like to bring what I call tidings of comfort and joy.
Nice. Great. Okay. Did you want to share the other thing too?
Oh, what I took away from today, I feel that you've normalized, quote unquote, the process for me a little bit more. I feel more comfortable with the sales thing. Thank you.
And can I steal that word from you?
What, the normalized thing?
Trust a writer to give me a new way to speak. Yeah,
Just
I like
it
that.
more normal in the sense of more like relaxing, not so mysterious and
Right.
You know.
It's not. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I would want you to come away with.
Good.
Crystal.
This is pretty big for me because it just simplifies it.
Oh, so nice, huh?
I love simplicity.
Oh, me too.
And it's just that, of course, embracing your authentic self, it just feels good. But that you actually think about things and you have an intention. So if the intention goes as far as everything that you're doing, and what I like the intention was even you're reaching out even to the point where that people that you have worked with, how they talk about you. So you even have an intention there.
Yeah.
So it's like you have intention for everything you're doing.
Oh. Hi, surprise. Forgive me. I love this. This is a highlight of my week. I love being here with you guys. So thank you for sharing. Thanks. Okay. John,
That's me.
I didn't have to look at my sheet and go, who's at the top of the table on the left? Oh, I gave that away. Okay, John.
So I discovered the reason I was having trouble with a lot of these questions, or at least one of the big reasons, was that I need to spend a little more effort trying to define in my head who my clients are, my main clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really clear about that, so that's...
I bet we can get that cleared up in 30 minutes. Perfect. Okay, excellent. I'm writing all this down so I know when I contact you guys, I'm gonna be like, okay, so tell me more about this, because I am really curious. Erin.
I inspire people to create intentional spaces that nurture creativity and expansion. And I say people because that's how I am with people, not just people that are my quote clients.
Right. Yeah. You're living your purpose everywhere. And I need to get distinctions between my Karens.
Karen K.
Karen K. And Karen H. Okay, great. And we have really bad handwriting. Steve.
Well, I have to say, I agree with Karen. I had written down almost the same thing. I mean, always assume that the customer will buy eventually is to be positive on what you're engaged in. I think that's so important.
Right.
But I also had one other insight, which is not developed a little bit, which I don't know where I got run from, but basically, when you say you want the customer to share with others what you do, I mean, that brings up the whole referral aspect of sales, which is something that I know I need to develop a lot more, because I have a tendency to deal with people, and when that is over, that's it. No contact again. And that's not good.
I bet we can work on that.
Yeah.
I think it'd just take about 30 minutes. I just saw there was problems. I'm not gonna get any sales, but that's okay. I can solve it in 30 minutes, and you go tell other people.
That's how you can build your business.
Yeah, build trust. Yeah, okay, fabulous. Duly noted. All right, Sid.
I guess my thought is uncovering hesitance through rapport, and then asking for the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Which, now that I think of it, sounds a lot better than asking for the sale.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's where you want to be, as the appointment.
Right.
Yeah.
So and again, I use the buzzwords because to normalize them. These are the buzzwords, we hear them about sales, and we think used car salesman. But it's like, I just want to continue this conversation, but we're at a networking event. Can we schedule some time to sit down and have some coffee or tea? What's the big deal? Yeah. So, and there's lots of little parts of that sales process that you close along the way. So.
Well, it kind of makes me think too about when we were going to the rapport part.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think of it also as that there's a pre-rapport.
Yeah.
As far as body language and a kind of a mentality that says, I'm talking with you, not to you.
Right. Yeah. Very good. Cool. Pre-rapport. All right, Bill.
Okay. This really struck me with the Zen. Years ago, I did a lot of reading about Zen when I was working with the Japanese in China. And one of the things that they had was that if you're in a boat and you're looking at the shore, is the shore moving or is the boat moving? And it's all the way you think about things. And I deal with reality dealing with clients. And so this is the first time I've really put it in this vein, is change your thinking to you're absolutely thinking the way your client is, doing everything from their viewpoint. What a different perspective you would have, and then being able to see how to change and do things.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill 9.
Yeah. Okay.
You're 10 now.
What?
Nothing left to learn. You. Your little grasshopper. Guessing.
I'd like to add to what Bill said, is that old thing about, what's in it for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
That whatever it is I have. So it's not we say, oh, I'm this wonderful and this thing is so great, what I do is so wonderful. Is that pointed to them as to what would benefit them.
Yeah, you are so wonderful. And I can enhance your wonderfulness. Maybe I'm mishearing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That old and short thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really what you're thinking.
Yeah, I could incorporate more little Zen things. I kind of use the term Zen tongue in cheek, but you get the drift. Laurel.
One of the things that stood out for me today was the notion that a deferred sale or a referred sale was actually part of your own sale, because I've had a history of taking projects that I didn't want because I needed the work, rather than saying, you know what, I'm not the right person, and you should be doing this, and then bring up the time to pursue or do the work that is the right path. So,
Yeah. And deepening your network. Yeah, beautiful, good. Alex.
Well, I don't know, I guess I kind of said earlier that the whole happiness connection was really powerful for me. And I think that for me, I guess just getting to that point in the conversation with people, really talking about beauty, putting beauty and art and creativity into their life, and going at it from that angle. I don't know. I don't really have a good nutshell way to say it, but I just feel like it's a little bit more firm in my head what I have to offer them, and I liked what you said about changing to their viewpoint, because to me that's what it's all about. It's like if I can see that you're telling me that you're not thrilled with the surrounding, with the colors around you or whatever, and you want a little bit more brightness or cheerfulness or some fantasy scene or whatever it might be, maybe I can help you with that.
Yeah. So. And sometimes these thoughts of, you don't necessarily have to say I inspire. You just go and inspire.
Yeah.
It's unspoken, but it's present. Yeah. All right, Marcia.
So I think what I learned as being in a transition for people just coming to me because someone else told them to, like usually a doctor, is that I have a pretty strong idea about core values and missions and all that, but I need a lot to learn about communicating directly with potential clients.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you very much. I had an amazing time, and unless you specify otherwise, and make sure we have your email, because I want to email you and set up a time for 30 minutes.
Do you have any suggestions for what folks could do in the next 2 weeks? That would make the most value out of your return?
Right, to get ready? Yes. Brilliant question. And that is to think about your sales process. And it shifts, it changes, but think about each slice, maybe think of a recent sale you've actually made or gotten close to making, and think about the process from the very beginning. How did that person hear about you? All the way, what was your first meeting with them? What was your second meeting with them? When did they buy? Boom, 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 to how you would like to make them a referrer. And so thinking about those slices, having those slices already delineated to the best of your ability, that would be a good way to show up really super duper prepared.
All right, well, thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thanks for coming for staying a few minutes, and we'll see you back next week and a week